Hello everyone. So today I'm here with one more topic, which is outlier, and you guys have found this topic quite confusing most of the time. So there are few things that we do during the analysis, or we call it exploratory data analysis using pandas. So we have to deal with outliers. So before dealing with, or before trying to understand it, that how to detect and how to remove from the data those outliers, we need to consider, or we need to find out that what exactly the outliers are, or what exactly that particular term is. So to understand this, what we can do, just forget about the technical things whatever is written here. I'm going to showcase you something here. Let me insert a cell below to this. So in our daily life, if we find something, let's say some picture, some specific symbols like that, and you find something in between like this, so that's a combination of the plus plus symbol, and we find something different from this collection of data. So here that star is the outlier, right? And for example, let's say you write something, some flowers name, right? Let's say marigold, lily, rose, and then you write apple here. So don't you think that apple would be outlier? In this case, apple would be outlier for us. And exactly the same way, let's say we write some numbers, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 7, let's say 12, and then we write this number. So that is different from the other combination. So here 2, 3, 4, 3 is the outlier. I hope now you bit clear with what exactly the outlier is. But the definition for outlier you can see, and you would be able to understand it. Like an outlier is a data point in a data set that is distant from all other observation. So you can say it can be different from so many ways. Like if it is a character data, if it is a numeric data. So that is all about. Although we are going to talk about the numeric data only, but here just to let you understand the term outlier, I have put it these examples here. So I hope it is clear to you now. Now just we are going to talk about like what exactly the impact of having outlier in a data set, and if we have, what are the different way to remove those outliers. So basically, if we have outlier in a data set, so let's say you're doing some analysis, so it may cause start during a statistical analysis, we may have a lot of variation in the output. For example, let's say we are analyzing the average salary of people, and here into that, let's say that is for any company. So in that company we have taken salary which starts from, let's say, 10,000 to 50,000, and suddenly we have added the CEO salary of a company as well. So don't you think that if you're adding the CEO salary in the data set, that is going to impact the entire observations or values that we do have? So we have to find it out while doing analysis. We have to find it out whether we do have some outlier in our data set. If we do have, then how to remove it. So you know uh, it is really important to detect and then remove. So there are several way to detect it. Let me showcase you. We can find out using the visualization as well. So to do that, you can use scatter plot, and while building the scatter plot, you can easily understand that how our data is distributed and what are the different variations, and you can find out the data points which are varied from the other data points, or what kind of relation they make to each other. And then we have box plot. Box plot is quite famous for outlier detection, so we can use box plot as well. So, and JEDISCO, that is also the statistical technique to find out the outlier in a data set. And then we do have interquartile range. So using interquartile range also, and if you see the box plot part is also use the interquartile range. So I'll let you know each and everything one by one. So let's start with the dummy data set. Here I have put it some data set, and I have put it some number into that. So these are the numbers that you can see, some values I have put it, and that's a list. if I find out how many records I do have, so I can apply length function to do it. So I have put a total 34 records into that. So in that data set, you can see that most of the numbers are between 10 to 20, but I do have some numbers which is more than 100. So here only, let's take an example. If we are going to calculate the, let's say, mean of data set. So we can simply do it like this. So this is the mean, 21 point something. So that is just average of that data set. That's what you can see. But for few numbers, you see that we do have 11, 10. So that average is quite higher than those numbers. And if we calculate the standard deviation of it, so how we can do it for data set? That is the variation. And if we calculate the median, and the data set, this time you see 13. So if we do have data in our outlier, so we recommend to use median in place of mean, in case we need to do something, do some analysis. Let's say we are filling some missing records and we have to find out the average value of it. So rather than going through with the mean part, we consider the median one. Why median one? You see that, let's say if I make changes to this data, in place of 100, I'm just putting or just changing that value as 1000, right? So which is quite there is huge difference between other data points here. So let me run this part. So the mean, you can see that is 47, but median is still 13. So mean is quite higher than the other data points that we do have here. But let's say if we do have outlier in data sets, so mean is not recommended to do it. So if you calculate mean, you will not be having a clear picture of it. So we are going to use a median. So how we calculate median? I hope you're clear with it. You just sort out the entire data and take the mid value of it, either in increasing order or in decreasing order. A standard deviation is the one how your data is deviated around the mean. So this time you can see that is, it's a huge deviation in our data, huge variability. Mean is 47 and the variability is 167. And if we remove this part, let's make it 20 only, and you see it has reduced the mean as well. Median is still same, and you can see the variability has been reduced, which is 22 this time. So you can easily understand what is the meaning of these three different terms. Like mean is to calculate average with outlier or without outlier, median with outlier and without outlier. So we recommend to use median because it is not tend towards the outlier. When we have outlier in data set, then mean will not give you a clear picture. Standard deviation is how our data is deviated around the mean. So the plus minus from the mean, this is the value. So we see that we have multiple way to detect the outlier using scatter plot, box plot, z score, or the interquartile range. So let's take some example to go through with them one by one. So start with the z score one. Z score, we call it a standard score as well, basically, which let us know that how our data is basically around the main the distribution of the data, how many standard deviation or data is away from that particular point. So it basically, we we have a thinking of it like, if our data is normally distributed, so the 60% of the entire data lies between plus minus 1 standard deviation, and 95% of the data lies between plus minus 2 standard deviation. And if we say 99.7% of the data point lies between plus minus 3 standard deviation. So what exactly the formula of z score is? We take a difference of the total number of observations, and we take a difference of mean from that, and we divide it with the standard deviation, and this is how we calculate the z score. So that is already assumed or understood that if data is normally distributed, there will be three different standard deviation, and how many data points, what is the percentage of the data point that lies between one standard deviation, two and three standard deviation. So when based on this picture, we are going to create a function here to detect the outlier on the above data set only. So we have created a list for this part, that's an empty list. We are going to store all the values, and then we have created a function detect outlier, and I have taken that the threshold is 3, where our data is falling out into the third standard deviation. So that is, first we are calculating the mean, then a standard deviation, and then we applied a for loop on data, and then we have applied the Z score formula, and we have applied a condition if absolute, we have just converted that into a positive. Z underscore score value is greater than the threshold, then we are going to append all the values and will return outlier. So once we create this function, and then we are going to apply that function on data set. So here is the function, and we are going to apply this on this data set, and here is the output. So we see that in that data set we do have these outliers. So let me make changes to that data set once again. So let me put 1000 here, let me run it again, and the entire part, and this function again, and let me put it again. So here this time you see the huge difference was this. So the outlier was this. So based on the variation of the data, this is going to provide you some outlier values. Let me make changes, some more data points as well. Let it at 120, or let it, for example, 140. So let me run this time and this time, and this is the value that we do have based on this function. So that's depend on the variability of the data that we do have here, and based on this and how many values basically we do have, it is going to give you the outlier value. So you can make changes, try to apply it. Then we have another one, which is interquartile range. Interquartile range, basically the entire data we see that divide into, that's 100% value, for example. So we first calculate the 25 percentile of data and 75 percentile of data. So anything which comes between this range, we call it an interquartile range. And how we calculate it, there are several steps involved into this. The first, we are going to arrange the entire data into increasing order. Then we'll calculate the lower and upper quartile. We call first quartile as lower quartile as well, and third quartile as upper quartile, and we denote it with Q and 3. And then we find out the interquartile range, which is Q3 minus Q1. And then we basically find out the lower bound and upper bound. So the formula that we use for it, like anything which we multiply with 1.5 in lower quartile, and we multiply 1.5 with upper quartile. So anything below than this lower bound and anything upper to this lower bound is going to be your outlier. So how we are going to perform this, all the steps. The first is we are going to sort our data. So this is the sorted data, that's what you can see here. And then we calculate the lower and upper quartile. So we have defined two variables, quantile 1, quantile 3, and then we percentile it using a percentile function on the data set 25 and 75. We calculate it, and then we get quantile 1, quantile 3. So these are the values, and then we find the interquartile range, which is upper quartile minus lower quartile. So here you can see that is 3. Now we are going to calculate the lower bound and upper bound. So lower bound, we are going to minus 1.5 into interquartile range. So quantile 1 minus 1.5 into interquartile range, that will be a lower bound. And quantile 3 plus 1.5 into interquartile value, that is going to be a upper bound value. So let me run it, and we are going to print both values. So this is lower and this is upper. Now anything which is below than this and upper than this is going to be a outlier. So we remove those, and we have filter outed data. So now this data do not have any outlier. So this is how we applied it. That's it for today, and we're going to cover that in next session. Thank you guys. Take care. Bye bye.